says that the treaty only differs to that original constitution, quotes, in approach rather than content. Now, despite that, Michael said at his party conference, this is not the ill-fated constitution. And then in the Queen's Speech debate, we can see an end to the flummery and trappings of the constitution and an end to the conceit of a constitutional concept. Now, I'm not sure where you're looking, Michael, but like many referees, maybe you need stronger glasses. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just say how serious this constitution stroke treaty is. It really is fundamental. It is the end game. Now, there's a huge transfer of powers. That's one element. There's 61 vetoes, where we can lose the power to stop legislation that we don't want. For example, just this week again, on today's programme, we had the Labour chairman of the Transport Select Committee saying the Galileo satellite project, she regards as being unproven, unworkable, with no budget. Yet we can be overruled by 2/3 of members in that committee who contribute nothing financially to it. And we get 17% of the cost. So basically, we end up paying the bill for something that's not going to work, and we're overruled. We have no voice on that. And as I say, there's 61 vetoes there. Now, aside from a more permanent president and a de facto foreign minister, we'll have British embassies being melted away into EU embassies and not representing our national interest. And the so-called red lines of Mr. Brown, they really are semantic. They're red herrings, not red lines. For example, on the Justice and Home Affairs opt-out, which we've heard about, now this can be overruled by the European Court of Justice, and it will be done so in salami slicing. And that means actually the end of English and Scots law, and it's rather sort of telling to be standing here and saying that, because corpus juris, basically the Napoleonic Code, will be forced through and will be overruled. That opt-out will just be overruled by the European Court of Justice, whose whole remit is one of integration. It's really a political court rather than a proper court. And again, quoting a Labour peer, it's not coming from UKIP or whatever, this is a Labour peer, Lord Stoddart, saying, "I'd like to know why the government considers that it has the authority to bypass Parliament and negotiate away a veto, which would signal the end of 800 years of independent judiciary in Britain. Casualties of this appalling surrender of government may well include the right to trial by jury, habeas corpus, and the presumption of innocence." But there are two specific aspects of this constitution that are particularly dangerous, I would suggest. One is, it gives the EU a legal status of its own, and will become EU citizens. That's in the constitution, and that is very profound, because, where was the vote? Where was the manifesto? Where was the political party that advocated such a dramatic change? It's never been put to the British people. And if that wasn't enough, secondly, this constitution will be self-amending, which means basically it doesn't have to have any other treaties or discussions behind closed doors in secret, like the Council of Ministers. They can make the necessary changes they wish to turn us, the whole of Europe, into a superstate. And consider, please, what the founder of the European Union, the master bureaucrat Jean Monnet, said about the whole process. He was the architect of this. Very telling what he said. He said, "Europe's nations should be guided towards a superstate without their people understanding what is happening. This can be accomplished by successive steps, each disguised as having an economic purpose, but which will inevitably and irreversibly lead to federation." And so I believe that one day we'll wake up and realise that our country, Britain, Scotland, whatever, is gone, and we now live in a country called Europe. And then it'll be too late, and that is the intention of this. Now, we could stop this. We could stop this treaty, this constitution. We could stop this if we have a referendum on it. And I really do urge Michael to put democracy and the national interest, the British national interest, before your allegiance to the European national interest. This is a very, very key area. And really, you have the power to make a huge difference in Parliament. It is possible to beat the government you change your policy. So I'm appealing to you here and now in this room to do so, because, you know, it really is a question of asking, where does your loyalty lie? This is so serious. But just to finish up, I want to put forward, Michael again touched on it, where is the positive vision? Where is the alternative to the EU? Are we just stuck with it? Do we just accept, you know, we've got to criticise it, but, you know, there's no alternative? I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. We don't believe it. And the point is, you know, you're encouraged not to believe it. You're encouraged to believe the sky will fall in, lightning may strike, 3 million jobs will be lost. All these scare stories, you know, Britain becoming an isolated, lonely, friendless, down at heel, weak Britain, no one will love us outside the EU. Well, I believe that is complete nonsense, and I tell you why. If you just look at some of the economic facts about Britain, I mean, we are the 5th largest economy in the world. We're the same size as China's at this point in time. Of course, China's going to whip past everyone. But at this point in time, we're the same size as China's. We're the 2nd largest global investor in the world, the 3rd largest trading nation in the world. We're the largest investor in the US, and the US is the largest investor in Britain. And I've said before, only 10% of our economy is trade with the EU. The City of London has done better since the euro than before it. I mean, it actually trades in more euros than Frankfurt, and more dollars than New York. Now we export more to the rest of the world than we do to the EU. So the fastest growing export markets are actually outside the EU. And if we left tomorrow, we would be the EU's largest single trading partner. We import more from the EU than we export to them. So, I mean, really, the question is, would they withhold their BMWs and their wine and Ferraris from us, or would they stop buying our pharmaceuticals or whiskey or Rolls Royces? No, I don't think so. Not if we become independent on a free trade agreement basis. So what should our positive alternative be? And I believe in a vision based on these 10 points. Firstly, I think we can get out it's worth saying, we can get out the EU. It's not going to take years. It could be done in a day, technically, because you just have to repeal the European Communities Act 1972. So it could be technically done in a day. That's all it would take. Secondly, we would be, as I said, like Norway and Switzerland, trading happily with the EU, but not part of that political superstate. And we could do a very good deal as the net importer, the largest trading partner, with the EU in terms of a free trade agreement. We would go through all those 120,000 directives and regulations, which are massacring a lot of business, the Working Time Directive, the new ones coming in, MyFed, the one in going through the Financial Services Directorate, £23 billion cost, hitting Edinburgh, hitting the City of London. All of those directives you could go through, and if you choose to, you could keep them, or you could get rid of them. And actually that would free up costs, would tumble competitiveness, surge, investment profits, and tax take rise. Fourthly, we could rebuild our links with the Commonwealth, our true friends and family, the people who died for us in many wars, as we saw just recently, the Remembrance Day. India, if you just take India, for example, in July alone, 8 million mobile phones were sold in India, 8 million. Its growth rate is 8% per annum, 4 times the EU's growth. By 2050, India's economy will be larger than all 27 EU states now. Now, the Commonwealth is 53 countries, a third of the world's population, a quarter of international trade and investment, and its combined national wealth is equivalent to the USA's. Got 13 of the fastest growing economies in the world. You're not looking backwards, you're looking forwards. And in Kampala in the next week, you'll see the Commonwealth heads of government come together, and they have a common language, and it's ours. They don't need hundreds of interpreters, as the EU's 27 countries do. They have a common language. Now,